So as Minneapolis burns and the mainstream media continues to vilify cops in an effort to push their own race war, there are important stories not being covered. All of this is by design, of course. Tragedy, drama, and all-out chaos gives the media a convenient excuse to ignore the other very important stories. In fact, that's what the China virus is all about too, right? Yes, the virus is serious. World-ending, though? No. But all of it is utilized as a distraction. So first and foremost, Joe Biden has real issues the media refuses to report on. They refuse to report on the implications of a mentally struggling, dementia-plagued commander-in-chief. More and more neurologists are coming forward to confirm what even the most liberal layman can see. Joe Biden's mental decline is moving rapidly now. Folks, just look at his eyes. They've gone dark. Anyone with an elderly parent suffering from dementia can also see the same signs in Joe Biden. So Dr. Russell Saraski, a neurologist, issued this warning recently right here on Newsmax.
As a neurologist, in my experience, looking at his medical history, he has long-standing cardiac arrhythmias and ruptured brain aneurysms, and what I'm seeing in him clinically, I can say with a relatively high degree of certainty that it is unlikely that President Biden will be cognitively fit to be president beyond 6 months to a year from now.
That is a well-respected neurologist, and there are many more like him that have the same diagnosis, looking at so many videos of Joe Biden over the years to watch and track the decline. Folks, this is not about partisan politics. It's about asking the question that should have been asked by the mainstream media during the campaign. It's simple. Is Joe Biden fit to be president? And if not, then who's calling the shots? The national security implications here are absolutely chilling. With a weak president, here's what I promise will happen. The vipers in Washington will jockey for position. But the people didn't elect D.C. vipers to run the country, which makes Joe Biden's installation as president a coup orchestrated by the swamp. The media ignores it all, of course. Why? Because its hands are dirty in all of this, too. So we know Joe Biden faces serious mental issues. Yet this is what we get from the evening leftists.
Give his words kindness and empathy like he does so well. He's iconic at it.
A transformational presidency and a presidency against all odds, given Biden's record.
I think that the average Joe is seeing President Joe do things for Americans, and they like it.
No, they do not like it. So while they all gush over a man who has no business running this country, they refuse to cover the other monster of a story with massive implications for American independence. Team Biden's ties to China. And beyond that, Team Biden's clear quest to enrich our adversaries and themselves, by the way, by giving China the economic upper hand over America. So this week on this program, we told you about the Biden administration's push for electric vehicles. The ramifications of moving America to all electric vehicles are frightening, not because electric cars and trucks are bad, they're not, but because China controls 80% of the rare earth minerals used to make car batteries. The more electric vehicles we put on the streets, the more we put ourselves at the mercy of China, reliant on that nation to power our economy. That's not a good idea. Newsmax Dick Morris broke this story right here on Stinchfield.
So we now make a tiny fraction of the global supply, and China makes 80 to 90% of it. So we've exchanged the Arab sheiks for the communist bureaucrats, because they will determine whether we can get rare earth minerals, whether we can make batteries, and whether these cars can go anywhere.
So do you think the media will cover any of this? Of course not. Just look at how it's handling the Hunter Biden scandal and his family's ties to China. Hunter comes out with a new book, and reporters agree to not ask obvious questions. Hey, Hunter, is that you in the photos and the videos? Is your dad, Joe Biden, the big guy who gets 10% of everything? Those are simple questions to ask. The reality is even asking those questions today is too late. They should have been asked during the campaign. Instead, we get this from hard-hitting Hollywood. Here's Hunter on Jimmy Kimmel.
Does it make you crazy when you hear someone like Donald Trump Jr. saying that the only reason he does is because he's a Biden and because of his last name? Yeah. It is amazing that you are alive after all the crazy things that you've been through. I feel like I learned a lot about crack, and I know that sounds weird, the laptop, and when they ask you if that was your laptop, you say you don't know, which is hard to believe unless you read the book. Yeah. And then it's kind of like, I'm surprised you have shoes on. Yeah, you know? Read the book.
All a big joke, right? Except our national security is at stake. But Jimmy Kimmel wouldn't know anything about that. And lastly, let's look at Iran. It appears Team Biden is taking its marching orders from the world's #1 state sponsor of terror now. And yet the media ignores all of this too. The media ignores that Iran's supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, literally demanding via Twitter that the United States lift all of its sanctions against Iran, while at the same time boosting its uranium enrichment to 60%. You know what that means? Iran is just one tiny technical step away from weapons-grade 90% uranium and the ability to carry out its promised obliteration of our Israeli allies. And still the media wants you to think that racism is our greatest public health threat when we are just steps away from World War III.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.